Hi everyone. I hope all of you are able to hear me. We'll get started very quickly. So welcome to this Ask Me Anything on NMAT. If there's anything that you want to know about NMAT, feel free to ask. I'll be very happy to share my experiences, my learnings from the past. And if there's any question, feel free to ask. I'll be very happy to answer your questions. Just give me 1 minute. We'll just ensure that everything is working fine, and then we can get started. Yeah, okay. I think we are live. So, yeah. Okay. Any questions, feel free to ask. You can just put it in the chat window, in the comment section, and I'll be taking questions that you guys have. Before that, just wanted to let all of you know, in case I'm assuming that all of you know it already, but in case you don't, the registration for NMAT 24 has started. So make sure that you start registration process at the earliest, because there are going to be limited slots that you have. So it's always better to fill your form as early as possible. We have done videos wherein we have covered the entire form filling guidelines. So have a look at that. It's there on the channel. Please have a look at it and then only start filling your application. We have covered all the details there in terms of what all fields are there, what all documents you require, and so on. So just ensure that you watch it before you submit. Okay. All right. Any questions? Anything? I don't see anything in the chat window, so I'm just hoping that all of you are able to hear me. In case you're not, please let me know in the chat window, and yeah, you can just put your questions. Okay. All right. If you don't have a question, at least say a hi. I think that will help, because right now I'm not able to see anything on the chat window. So just want to ensure that everything is working fine in terms of tech, and we are good to go. Okay, now I can see some questions. So great. Thanks, everyone. Let's jump to the first question that we have got. Just a minute. Yeah. So there's a question from Tanay. Hi, Tanay. How much extra preparation is required for NMAT? So when you look at NMAT, and let's say you're somebody who is preparing for the CAT, you're not going to require a lot of effort for NMAT. Having said that, the effort has to be concentrated more on the topics that are not a part of CAT preparation. So when you look at CAT quant, for example, majority of the stuff that you do there is going to be useful for NMAT. The only difference that happens is the data sufficiency section, which is, or data sufficiency questions, which are not a part of CAT. So when you prepare for CAT, when you take SimCATs, when you solve majority of the CAT questions, you're not going to encounter data sufficiency problems. And that is something that you should be focused on when you're looking at your NMAT. Just ensure that you do a lot of DS question practice, because that is something that people are typically not comfortable with. But otherwise, your QA plus DI preparation is going to suffice for your NMAT. Speaking of the other two sections, so when you look at the VRC section, whatever you do for CAT is going to be enough. The only addition that I would suggest is going to be grammar and vocab, because these two areas are tested extensively on the NMAT. They're not tested on the CAT. So as a CAT aspirant, you can live with not having a great grammar or great vocab by guessing, let's say, contextual meaning and all of that. But in NMAT, that is not going to happen. So you will have to have decent grammar and vocab, and that is the addition that you will have to do. So start working on those two areas as well. And the third thing, which is logical reasoning. In NMAT, logical reasoning has two parts to it. There is verbal reasoning and non-verbal reasoning. The verbal reasoning part of it is largely critical reasoning, assumptions, inference, conclusion, argument, and all of that. So when you're preparing for CAT, more or less you're getting prepared. But I would still suggest that you have a look at the NMAT specific content, study those questions, prepare for those questions. That should definitely help. The non-verbal reasoning part of it shouldn't be very difficult to crack. But there's one particular area that you may again not have done for CAT, which is the input output or the sequential output kind of questions. Definitely that's something that you'll have to do additionally. So when you take the NMAT mocks, that will give you a fair sense of what all things are asked, and then you can strategize accordingly. We still have a lot of time, so don't worry too much about it at this point of time. I would say for now, the important thing is to just start taking baby steps towards the whole thing, right? So, NMAT, luckily for all of you, NMAT is going to be conducted in November this time compared to what it used to be, which is October, right? So previously it used to be till October. It used to start in October, roughly around 10th October. But now this year it is starting from 5th November. So you have extra time and you can use it to your advantage. Okay. Hope Tanay, I've answered your question. Another question that Tanay has asked. Hi Palash. Tanay has asked a question. How many mocks one is expected to take for NMAT? So to IMS students, we offer 10 mocks and we believe that that number is sufficient enough. In addition to that, what we definitely recommend is taking the two official mocks that are there. So NMAT official mocks that are present in the NMAT dashboard. When you register for NMAT, you will be able to see those mocks. The first mock that you have, it allows for a retake. They are different questions, and that is why technically it is two different mocks. So you get two NMAT official mocks. They also have two paid mocks. So just in case you are somebody who is very, very serious about NMIMS, want to get in, you can spend an additional amount and go for the two paid mocks as well, because that experience will be useful, right? So the scaling that happens in the NMAT official mocks is generally good enough for you to get an estimate as to where you stand. But let's say you take the NMAT official mock, you're already doing extremely well. You may not have to go for the paid ones. So that whether to go for paid ones or not, I will leave it at your discretion. But I will definitely recommend the 10 IMS mocks that we are going to give you. A lot of students have asked when the mocks are going to start. So we're planning to start it towards the end of August or first week of September. That is the plan. We'll definitely be coming up with the announcement very soon. And the two official mocks that NMAT provides. Okay, Mosam has asked, do we have to apply for all NMIMS colleges separately? Okay, so when you look at NMIMS, the university, there are multiple campuses and multiple programs at these campuses. When you fill NMIMS form, and NMAT and NMIMS form are two separate things. You register for NMAT once you have your NMAT by GMAC ID. Using that, you complete your NMIMS application. In the same application form, you can apply to multiple colleges. So you don't have to apply to, say, an NMIMS Bangalore separately and NMIMS Indore separately. In the same NMIMS form, you can select the preferences that you have. So you can say, for example, Mumbai is my first preference, Navi Mumbai is my second preference, and all of that, right? So that is something that can be done through the NMIMS form. What we'll do is, once we're done with this session, we'll give links in the description as well. But anyway, you'll find it on our channel. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you have NMAT plus NMIMS form filling guideline video. Please have a look at that. In the description, you have those links, and then you can start your application process. Okay, I've covered the entire thing as to how do you register for the NMAT, how do you do your NMAT slot booking, and how do you apply for NMIMS. So have a look at those videos in case you haven't. Okay. All right. There's a question from Ishita. When should we give NMAT, before or after CAT? Right. So when you look at when you should take it, right, it's a very personal question. So there is no one unique answer to it, fortunately or unfortunately. What I would suggest is whenever you feel sufficiently prepared. See, everybody will have a different way of looking at it. Somebody will say that, no, I want to take CAT as my first exam. I don't want the focus to get diverted towards NMAT. I'll take NMAT later because NMAT is my, let's say, the second thing that I'm looking forward to. The other side could be people say that though I'm not very serious about NMAT, let me take it earlier because it will be the first national level exam that I face. I'll get my score. It will boost my confidence and all of that. So there's no one right answer to this question. What I recommend is whenever you feel sufficiently prepared. So if today you feel prepared, you can take the NMAT, right? That's how I will look at it. What I would suggest is, because in December there are other tests as well. So you are going to have MyCat in December. You're also going to have SNAP in December. So have a look at what all tests you're going to take. If you're going to take all of these tests, it's better to take NMAT in November so that you can have NMAT in November, CAT in November, and then you have, let's say, a MyCat and a SNAP in December. But if you think that no, I'll be able to manage even in December if I take the NMAT, that's not a problem. You can definitely take it in December as well. Another thing that you should consider is if you take it in, let's say, November, it also gives you an opportunity to go for a second attempt, because there are a lot of institutes beyond NMIMS that accept the NMAT score. So if you're somebody who is targeting some of these institutes and they are accepting best of the scores, you may want to go for a retake. Now, if you take it very late in December, it may not be possible for you to go for a retake. That is why it's better to take it in November generally, if you're planning to go for a retake. But if you're not planning to do that, December should also be fine. Okay, question from Krish. I am in Autonomous College in Mumbai, so which CGPA formula I have to use while filling the form? Okay, so again, the formula has to be given by the college, right? So you should ask your institute or college wherever you're studying as to what is the formula that you're supposed to use, right? If they say that there is no such formula and there is a document which shows that there is no such formula, you can simply convert your CGPA to percentage by calculating your CGPA divided by maximum CGPA and taking percentage of that, right? So that is the standard practice that is followed everywhere. If you're asking me specifically about the CAT form, the only thing I would say is that in the instruction manual that they have clearly mentioned that in case the institute says that there is no formula, then you can do it. But for that, the institute has to say there's no formula. You can't take that decision on your own, saying that okay, my institute has not given me any formula. There could be a formula, but it's just that you may not be aware of it. So that is why just reach out to your college, ask them what is the conversion formula, and then you can use it for form filling. Question from Tane: if I plan for NMAT post CAT, can I just start with NMAT mocks post 24th November? Tane, that's not a good idea. So even if you're planning to take NMAT, let's say November or December, let's say December, you should still take a couple of mocks before you, go till whatever 24th November, right? The reason for that is if you decide to take all the mocks after 24th November, you are not getting enough time to work on your strategy. See, even if you take a couple of them, let's say if you take 2 or 3 mocks prior to CAT, the NMAT mocks that I'm talking about, that will also give you a sense of what NMAT is all about. It will direct your preparation in some way. So that is why even if you're not planning to take, let's say, NMAT in November, which is prior to CAT, and you're planning to take it in December, I would encourage you to take at least a few mocks, maybe 2 to 3, not the official ones, the IMS ones, and official ones you can reserve that for December, so that you just know, right, what the test is about, what kind of questions are there, how to strategize, what the preparation focus area should be, right? So that will definitely help. 2 to 3 kind of spread out, maybe 1 or 2 in October, 1 in November, that kind of a thing, or let's say 3 in October. That also is fine. And then you directly go to December and take the rest of the mocks. Okay. Anything else? Tanaz asks, apart from NMIMS Mumbai, which other NMIMS campuses do we prefer? So we have given a list. So we had made the form filling guideline video, and in that video you will see the cutoffs that are there. But typically Mumbai campus going to have the highest cutoff. So NMIMS Mumbai, then NMIMS Mumbai HR will be the one which will be with similar cutoff. Then you typically have either the Navi Mumbai campus or the Bangalore campus, and then depending on your other preferences, like whether it is digital transformation or you want to look at any other campuses, then you can look at that. The best way is, of course, looking at the cutoff so that you know that that is the preference order. See, cutoffs indicate a story. They just tell you that this is how the preferences are. So when you see NMIMS Mumbai has the highest cutoff, you also know that that is the most preferred institute. And when you see, let's say, something like an NMIMS Hyderabad having a lower cutoff, you know that it is not the best, the most preferred institute, right? So have a look at that video. We have discussed all the cutoffs there. And yeah, so typically for NMIMS Mumbai, it is going to be around 232, 235, that kind of a thing. Okay, moving on. Smith has asked, when will IMS enable ADMAT sections, and will ADMAT only have mock papers or both mock papers and conceptual videos? So Smith, so we are going to have 2 parts for ADMAT, right? One is going to be ADMAT masterclasses, and these are 20 masterclasses that we have created, which deal with all the topics that feature in ADMATs. When we say ADMATs, these are basically additional management tests. So whether it is NMAT, SNAP, CET, etc., the 20 ADMAT masterclasses cover all these topics. They are going to have video recorded solutions. Typically, in every ADMAT masterclass, you're looking at somewhere around 30 to 40 questions, right? So you're looking at around 600 to 800 questions that are coming to you in this form. The other thing that will happen is the ADMAT tests that are going to be there. So ADMAT mocks. So we'll have mocks for SNAP, NMAT, CET, and all of that. So as I mentioned some time back, we are planning to release the NMAT mocks by end of August. or September first week. Roughly, that is the timeline that we have thought of. That gives you at least 2 months before the NMAT window opens, right? So it's a significant amount of time. Okay, question from Devika: How to manage NMAT and CAT, especially logical reasoning? Okay, so as I started in the beginning, right? So logical reasoning has two parts to it in NMAT: the verbal reasoning and the non-verbal reasoning. The non-verbal reasoning part is not very difficult to handle because it has you are going to have, let's say, metrics arrangements and things like that. But there are some aspects to it that are very unique to NMAT. For example, a sequential output. So sequential output again will be covered as part of those ADMAT masterclasses that I spoke about. But if you want to just practice a little bit on your own, right? Please have a look at the module 5 of the CAT courseware that we have. In module 5 also you will find areas that are tested on the logical reasoning section of different tests such as NMAT. You can also look at the NMAT official guide, which is a very good source of NMAT questions. So you can start practicing a little bit. See, I wouldn't say that you practice a lot of NMAT questions right now, because if you're somebody who is preparing for CAT and that is your focus, you also have to devote a lot of time there. Whatever time remains, if you have, let's say, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, you can spend that on your NMAT preparation. And if you do it from now, it will be enough by the time you reach, let's say, the month of October. And then you can increase, you can devote more time on your NMAT prep. Okay. But right now, it should be more of CAT and less of NMAT. So something like maybe an 80-20 or a 90-10 kind of a distribution, where 80% or 90% of your effort is on CAT, 10 to 20% is on NMAT, focusing on the areas that are tested specifically on the NMAT. The ones that I mentioned are in quant, you should practice data sufficiency. In verbal reasoning, in the verbal ability section, you should be practicing grammar and vocab. And in the LR section, you should be practicing critical reasoning, and you should be practicing questions such as input, output, and standalone logic puzzles. Devika, yeah, I answered your second question as well. And because you mentioned that you're planning to take it in November, start, I think, with 80-20. So for you, it's not 90-10. It should be somewhere around 80-20 kind of a distribution. See, because it's not that the two tests operate in silos. What you do for one test will also help you for the other. So even when you're doing, let's say, your NMAT preparation and you're solving quant questions at that level, it is also helping you for your CAT as well. So it's both ways, right? You do for CAT, it helps you for NMAT. You prepare for NMAT, it helps you for SNAP. It helps you for CAT. Moving on to the next question from Devesh, SDA Bocconi versus KJ Somaiya, which is better? So it's a little difficult to answer questions like these, right, as to which one is better. Because firstly, right now, we don't have a convert. So once you convert, you have all the parameters in your hand, right? What is the average salary? What is the fee structure? And all of that. So both institutes, one of them, of course, has been there for a very long time. So it has some legacy associated, which is KJ Somaiya. They've been there for a very long time. The problem with KJ Somaiya, of course, is the total batch strength is slightly on the higher side because they have multiple programs. That's a problem. The good thing, of course, is the legacy. They have been there for a very long time. And the average return or the return on investment, if you look at both of these places, SDA Bocconi or KJ Somaiya, they are similar. It's not significantly different. SDA Bocconi, one disadvantage could be that, again, it has been there, but it has been there for a limited amount of time, right? So that's those are the two parameters that I would at least look at right now. So that is why there's no one unique answer. Somebody might say that, okay, SDA is also good, so why not? It has that Bocconi tag associated with it. Somebody will prefer KJ Somaiya. So right now, let's not get into that. I would just say that you apply and see what happens. See, my point is, it's very difficult to answer these questions before you have the test scores. That is number one. And the second thing is before you have a convert. See, once you have a convert, you can sit with somebody and let that person know that, okay, these are the things that I have. Help me figure out what I should do. And that becomes a more meaningful discussion. Right now, if you're thinking of applying, I would say that apply to both of them and see what happens. Jenny has asked, is it enough our word list for LS, synonym, antonyms, and all of that? Pretty good enough, right? So see, Janil, what happens is with vocab, no matter how much you do, there will always be something that you will come across that you have never seen earlier. and it happens with me every single year. I'm not saying that my vocab is great or something, but I generally end up encountering something that I've never seen. So it's okay. Whatever you do will definitely help, because let's say you do 1,000 words, right? There could be words that appear in the test that are beyond that list. So it's okay. You do it, but you keep reading as well. A lot of vocab development happens through organic reading. So all of you should keep reading, which will make you a better reader in the process and also improve your vocabulary. In addition to that, initially, as he has mentioned, right, that it's when I do the word list, doing word list is a very good exercise in the beginning, in the start of your preparation, and you keep improving on that through the organic reading that you do. Devika has asked, as stated above, I already have NMAT official guide. Is the guide enough for NMAT? NMAT official guide is very good source of preparation. So it has the number of questions that are available is also good. What I don't particularly like about the official guide is the explanations sometimes are, especially in quant, they take a very long cut to arrive at the answer, whereas there are a lot of shortcuts that are possible. So, but their answers of critical reasoning especially are very, very good because they explain every single option as to why it was not the answer. So it's a good exercise to do, official guide. And it's not necessary that you go for the latest official guide. You can look at any one, maybe like the old one from 2023 or 22. If let's say your friends had it from the past years, you can easily use that also. So it's not necessary to buy the new one. If you can afford it and you want to do it, you can definitely go for it. Otherwise, even the old official guides from 21, 22, 23 should be good enough. The only thing is just understand that there are some topics that don't appear on the NMAT now, but they used to appear at a point of time. So, for example, a time, speed, distance, and geometry. These two topics are not there for NMAT. That's why if you have very old official guide, it may still have those questions. You can ignore them. But I'm assuming most of your CAT aspirants or other exam aspirants. So anyway, you are doing time, speed, distance as part of it. So it's not that don't do time, speed, distance at all. All right. Devika, I hope I have answered your question. Let's move on to a question from Vatsal. I'm taking CAT, NMAT, and 3 snaps when to take NMAT. Okay. Vatsal, in that case, I think NMAT better to take it in November. In my view, again, it's a personal take on it. You may decide to take it in December as well. But just because you said that you're taking 3 snaps in December, right? So you're going to have a pretty blocked calendar. And there's a lot of switching that you will have to do, right? So in your approach, in your test taking strategy, considering all of that, I think it may be better to take NMAT in November itself. Smith has asked, can you share some details about SNAP and is SNAP similar to NMAT? So SNAP is a very different test compared to NMAT. NMAT is an adaptive test. You can see only one question at a time and you have to answer it, then only you can move on. But in SNAP, you can move from one question to another. You can move from one section to another. It's 60 minutes, 60 questions. The only thing that is common to both of these tests is that they are fundamentally speed-based exams. So if you're somebody who is good with your speed, you will find it easier to crack these tests. Having said that, it's not only speed, it's also content. So don't think that I'm very fast, but my content is not that great. I'll be able to crack it. No. But yeah, so both of them have speed element common. Good thing about SNAP is that you can play to your strength. So if you think that, okay, I want to spend more time on quant questions, you can do that. If you want to spend more time on verbal, you can do that. In NMAT, you don't have that. So NMAT is a very restrictive test in that sense where it's 36 questions in each section, 22 minutes, 28 minutes, and whatever the time distribution that you have, right? So if you look at all of that, NMAT is kind of restrictive, but SNAP is more like it's a field where you can play. You can do whatever you want. 60 minutes, 60 questions, and there's negative marking in SNAP. In NMAT, they say that there's no negative marking, but the scaling mechanism factors in how you're performing on the test, right? So if you're not getting a lot of easy questions correct, your score will start going down. But in SNAP, every question, it has uniform marking, +1, -1, 4th marking scheme. The cutoffs don't change too much. That's it. One thing about SNAP is that they don't normalize, which creates the need to take multiple tests, as somebody mentioned, right? That Vatsal said that he's planning to take 3 snaps. The reason for that is they don't normalize. So whatever is your best raw score, they're going to take that to calculate your percentile. and you never know how the difficulty level is going to be. In the past, we have seen that there have been cases where the difficulty fluctuated too much. So people took one snap, got something like a 25-30. The next one that they took, they got a 35-40 in a matter of few days, right? So it's not the person became smarter or ended up solving thousands of questions. It's just that the difficulty of the test was different. So that is why it's always advisable, something that I also mentioned in my snap form filling video, that if you're somebody who's very serious about symbiosis, you should be taking 2 attempts of snap at least. Don't rely completely on a singular attempt. Okay. Vatsal, cat is 24, snap from 8. When should I take it? Okay. So if you want to squeeze it in between, you can do that. So for example, you can take it towards end of November or 1st December or something like that. So that is also an option. Mosam has asked, what are colleges I should fill before CAT, SNAP, and MAT? Okay, so if I look at CAT, there are very few that close before CAT is conducted. Something like an SPJMR, for example, right? So SPJMR always closes before CAT is conducted. So you will have to apply for that. Now we are going to have a place where you will find all of this information. That announcement will be happening very soon, wherein you will be able to see all the deadlines and college details and all of that. So all of you will be able to see it in your MyMS dashboard, and through that you can keep a track of what all applications you have to make. For SNAP, SIBM you have to apply before, SIBM and SCMHRD both, I think you need to apply before SNAP is conducted. There are some that you can apply to before SNAP result, and there are some that you can apply to after SNAP result. I have covered all of these things in the SNAP form filling video, so please have a look at that. Okay. For NMAT, NMIMS, anyway you have to apply. NMIMS has the same deadline as NMAT application, which is 10th October, I think. So anyway, you'll end up applying to NMIMS prior to taking NMAT. Okay, Chirag, I have planned to take NMAT on 4th December. How to prepare for that, as I'm preparing for CAT as well? How much attempt I should give? I'm planning to give SNAP as well. So Chirag, one simple thing that I mentioned, divide your time as say 80-20 or a 90-10, which means that 90% of the time I'm doing CAT prep, 10% of the time I'm doing NMAT prep. And you take a few mocks in September, a few mocks in October. Now, when exactly to take the NMAT, as you're saying on 4th December, you will have roughly around 10 odd days, right, before you face your NMAT after CAT. So that is the time that you really utilize for NMAT. But otherwise, taking a few mocks in September, October, November, that is the strategy that you should follow, so that you don't have to push too much towards the end. Ankita has asked, I filled NMAT form. Can I fill NMIMS form later in October? Yes, you can do that. But see, if you have filled NMAT form, right, NMIMS form is just additional thing. It will hardly take you another 10-15 minutes to do that. So why wait till October, correct? The deadline for NMIMS is same as NMAT deadline. So you fill it before that. You can maybe take some more time if required, but fill it prior to the deadline. That's all about it. So I wouldn't say that you have to do it like today. But see, the point is it's just another 10-15 minutes worth of effort, because most of the data gets fetched from the NMAT form. I've covered the details in the video. Please have a look at that, all of you. I've maybe spoken about it too many times in the session, but have a look at that video because it covers everything. So if you watch those 25 minutes and you just follow the process, you're done with your NMAT plus NMIMS application. Okay. How many attempts should I take on NMAT? Parth is asking. If you're looking at only NMIMS, 1 attempt is okay. If you're looking at colleges beyond NMIMS as well, some of them accept the best of the scores that you submit out of 3. Then you can either go for 2 attempts or 3 attempts. There's no one number that I can recommend. But NMIMS accepts only the first attempt of NMAT. So that's what you have to keep in mind. Okay. There's a question from Praveen Raj, NMAT home proctored test. What is the procedure? How will they monitor us? Praveen Raj, they removed that. So in fact, when they announced it this year, it was still on the NMAT website. But then after a few days, I think they had forgot to update that particular page maybe. They have completely removed the home proctored attempt. So you can only take it from a test center. And that is why I'm suggesting all of you to fill the form early so that you get a center and a slot of your choice. Otherwise, towards the end, there could be rush. It may happen that you have to travel. And there have been instances like that in the past where people traveled 100, 150 kilometers to take the test because there was no slot available. So that is why do it earlier. So just to again clarify on your question, there is no attempt from home now. You have to go to the test center and take the NMAT. Jenny has asked, I scored 205 in 23. I cleared Pont LS, but not able to clear LS cutoff. Okay, how to improve LS? Reading is the best solution that is there. But yeah, solving a lot of questions is the way to go. See, when you're preparing for the NMAT, it's a lot of about how many questions have you solved of NMAT level. So the more questions you solve, obviously better you're going to get. In addition to that, you have a look at doing a lot of practice in terms of general reading and improving your vocab organically. Tanay has asked, is critical reasoning easy in NMAT as compared to CAT? Yes, definitely on the easier side. Thakur has asked, is it possible to score 270 in NMAT? How much question out of 108 need to be correct? Yeah, so now we are getting into that zone where people have started asking more pointed question as to how many questions should I get right and all of that. So in NMAT, there is no such thing as these many questions you should get correct because you don't know what kind of level of questions you're getting, right? It's very difficult to gauge that. What I've observed is, of course, and based on the inputs that students have also shared, that if you're not able to complete the paper, there is a penalty, which means that you should mark all 36 questions. Now, how many genuine of that? It depends, because it depends on what is the difficulty of the questions that you're getting. So what I'll do is, again, once after this video, I will give some links in the description. And there is a link for one of the blogs that I maintain. It's called Cracking CET, crackingcet.com. I have analyzed NMAT thoroughly over the last several years. So you can have a look at how the NMAT official mock scoring works. And even for mock 1 and mock 2, you will see there's a lot of difference. So there's no way to figure out how many questions you should be getting correct to get to a certain score, right? So don't even start wondering how many questions I should do, right? Because there's no answer to that question. The more you do, the better it is. But you should aim for doing all 36 questions that appear in that particular slot. Okay. What else? I can see a question from Parth. How many attempts should I take for NMAT? Again, very individual. You can decide that. Travel with SRJ. If we had 6 subjects in 12, do we need to consider all of them while filling up our 12 details for NMAT? So though they don't specify, I think you can follow the same process. Enter all subjects that appear on the mark sheet, right? So no harm in doing that. Or you can just reach out to them, ask for a confirmation, and you can do whatever they say, right? Okay, Rakesh, I'm eligible to apply for EWS, but the concerned authorities who make are not helping me. I'm planning to take CAT and MAT SNAP. Is there any way to get it done? Request, I mean, plead if you have to, because see, in all these cases, you have to really push them a little bit, right? Because maybe take your parent along, because if they see a student versus a parent, generally there could be that, okay, it's slightly more urgent and all of that. So maybe you can take your father with you or mother with you or guardian with you, just to ensure that you create some additional pressure and get the authorities to help you out. Okay, Rakesh has asked, how does the EWS PDF on the CAT website work exactly? Are there any documents to attach along with it? The session is more for NMAT, so, but again, I'm just going to quickly answer your question. If you already have a EWS certificate, which is as per their guidelines, you don't have to use the CAT format. If you don't have one, then you can use the CAT format and get a new one created. Okay, for CAT form filling, are we supposed to upload last semester mark sheet and percentage converted from 6 semester CGPA? So first things first, you don't have to upload any of your mark sheets. What you just need to do is use all the mark sheets that you have received so far to calculate your CGPA and then convert that to percentage. Vatsal has asked when to give mocks. I'm watching lectures and completed now module 1. When to start ADMAT mocks and SIMCATs. So Vatsal, if you have completed module 1, SIMCATs you can start right away. Don't wait. Regarding ADMAT mocks, you can start from September. Keep the frequency as, if you're planning to take the NMAT, keep the frequency as 2 to 3 mocks per month, and depending on when you're planning to take it. Ankita has asked, during IIM admission, which year's ITR certificates do we have to provide to college, like current year or new next financial year? So most colleges will process your documents in the month of April or May. which means that you will be able to give your total income certificate or documents for the financial year 2024-25. So I would suggest that while you're filling the CAT form, the document that you need is going to be something that is, and it has been mentioned as to what the specifications are. But at the time of admission, you will need a valid document again. And at that point of time, because if they're processing in April or May, it will be for financial year 2024-25. How many attempts does KJSO may accept for NMAT? Last year, they accepted only the first attempt. Harshita, ideally, when should we give NMAT, before or after CAT? I think this is the most popular question with unfortunately no unique answer. And as I said, look at all the other tests that you are taking, whether you will be able to manage your prep for other tests, do justice to those as well. So considering all parameters, you can decide for yourself. But again, depends on you, right? So whenever you feel prepared, you should take it. Don't take it on day one. If you're just asking me when should I not take it, I have an answer. Don't take it on day one of NMAT. The reason for that is technical issues, any format change, anything, any surprises. If you take it on day one, you get exposed to all these things, right? See, I have taken it on day one pretty much all the last NMATs that have happened. And every time some or the other thing has gone wrong. So there was at least, I think, maybe one or two good years. But otherwise, so last year it happened that the verbal score scaling was wrong. So there was no technical glitch during the test. But after the test, the score that we got, the verbal score was wrong. So they fixed it and re-released the scorecards. The year prior, what happened was I had taken NMAT on day one. They gave me the scores, and after a few days, I got a mail saying, due to some reason, the screen wasn't captured by their software or something, due to which my attempt got cancelled, and they offered a free retake, etc. The year prior, I mean, one of the years prior to that, something happened during the test. So these things happen on day one. That is why day one is generally not a good idea. But otherwise, you can take it on any of the days. Okay. What else? I have time for a few more questions. We still about 8 to 10 minutes before we call it a day. The best one has written got 226 in 23, 240 plus possible this year. Absolutely. Why not? 226 was a good score. For sure, you missed by what, 6-7 marks, considering last year's cutoff. So definitely target higher. I mean, why 240? Why not 250 or a 260, right? So target on the higher side. Okay, how many? Okay, I've already answered this question. CR practice from where? So critical reasoning practice, again, in your CAT material also you have those questions, but otherwise module 5, the other thing is ADMAT masterclasses, which will be released to IMS students in MyMS dashboard, and the NMAT official guide. So those would be some very good sources. Mahir, I'm preparing for CAT 24. I'm also planning to take ZAT, SNAP, and NMAT. Is the syllabus different for different? Slightly different. So different tests have their own flavor. Some of them are speed based, some of them are content based, different formats, different sections, and all of that. When you prepare for the CAT, you're getting prepared for about, I would say, 70, 75 or 80% of all the other exams as well. The additional thing that you will have to do is those specific areas that are tested and then taking mocks of that particular test. Prajwal has asked whether DI is asked in the paper. Yes, I mean, NMAT has data interpretation. Typically, 2 sets or 3 sets is what you will get. Generally, calculation intensive. So they don't have a lot of complexity otherwise in terms of understanding what is going on. The complexity is more in terms of calculating because you don't have a calculator. Prajwal has asked, LR puzzles only arrangement is asked. No games and tournaments or no selection based, is matrix based asked. Matrix based, yes, I've seen it in the past on NMAT. But games tournaments, no, I've never seen those kind of questions. Manav, is new IM and BBIM better than SIBM NMIMS in terms of 20-30 years future? Manav, that's a very good question, and thanks for asking. Though it's not related to NMAT, let me answer it. 20-30 years down the line, it doesn't matter where you studied. So everything matters on what opportunities you get, what you do with it, what sort of passion you have, how you sort of move towards that, and all of that. So you never know what things are going to be 20-30 years down the line. It doesn't matter which college you studied from after roughly about 10 years, because see, what happens is any great institute or any top B school, it gives you a head start compared to others, but it doesn't determine what you will do post that. So the first job that you get, first placement, that definitely is because of that college. But once you start working there, right, you, whether you get promoted to say an AVP VP in the next 3-4 years, or let's say the company says that no, you're not doing a good job and you should go to some other company, that is in your control, correct? So there are a lot of parameters that are not in our hands also, so it's fine. What I would suggest is the college doesn't go, the nobody can take away the degree that you get. So if you graduate from say an SIBM or an IIM or whatever, that will always stay with you. But post that, what you do with opportunities is up to you, correct? So that is why don't think too much about 20-30 years. It won't matter at all for such a long period. In the immediate sense, of course, you can figure out with what options you have. And it's too early to answer that question. So let's wait for roughly around March, April 25. And you can definitely reach out to me. And based on the converts that you have, I can help you decide where you should go. Okay, last three questions that I'm going to take before we end it. Ankita, welcome. Thanks for writing that. Tanay, I guess EWS things are applicable only to CAT, not to other exams. Some of the other tests have EWS, but otherwise, majorly, of course, CAT is taking EWS as a category, because there are some places where it's not applicable. Okay. Manav, in my whole life, I didn't have any good brand name in education, so I'm targeting only IIT as it will be my last education degree. So should I skip SNAP and NMAT? No, you should take NMAT and SNAP. See, you can always reject them if you want to go somewhere else, right? And a lot of people do it. So where exactly you should go, you can only decide once you have those options. Till that point, everything is a speculation. Everything is just thinking or daydreaming that, okay, if I convert, then what? But only once you convert, you truly know, okay, this is the picture. I have these three converts. So let's say you convert an NMIMS, an SIBM, and something else. Then depending on whether you want to do finance, marketing, operations, HR, you sit with a mentor and figure out where you should go. Right now, it's too early to talk about it, so don't worry. Just focus on test prep, but take it. Don't skip it, because I've seen a lot of examples where, for some reason, people were just focusing on one exam and they had all their eggs in one basket, which is generally not a good strategy, because you never know what's going to happen. There's a lot of uncertainty with these exams. So it's better to, for example, last year, I mean, how many people had predicted that the number of takers is going to go up by 30%? Nobody had that idea. So these things are not in your control. You just take the test and see what happens, right? Devansh has asked SSC CGL versus CAT. Again, very difficult to answer that question, because two open up different opportunities altogether. An SSC CGL is taking you to a different path. A CAT is taking you to a different path, right? So firstly, focus on what the end goal is. What is the path that you want to take towards that end goal? If you think that, no, I want to have sort of a government opportunity, want to have a stable job and all of that, and the perks that come associated with it, let me go for SSC CGL. If I think that, no, I'm more of somebody who wants to experiment, maybe have a startup, want to work in the corporate sector, CAT is the path. So these are two very different things, right? So Parajumble source to practice NMAT level. Again, CAT preparation is enough for NMAT parajumbles as well. No need to do anything separately. NMAT RC level versus CAT level. If I put CAT RC as let's say 9 on 10, I'll have to put NMAT at maybe a 6 on 10. That kind of a comparison. Okay, all right. I think I answered all the questions. So, and we are almost towards that 45-minute mark, which was my initial thought about this session. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it a day. We're going to end the session now. I hope this has helped and it gave you all the, I answered all the questions that you had. If you have anything else, you can always leave it as a comment on any of the videos and I'll try and get back as early as possible. So thanks for joining, all of you. Wish all of you all the best. And stay tuned, because we are going to have a lot of content coming your way. We'll keep doing videos, form filling guidelines, strategy sessions, ask me anything sessions. So I hope you will, in case you haven't subscribed to the channel already, you will do it, and I'll see you in some of the future sessions. Okay, that's it. That's it from my side. Thanks everyone for joining, and wish all of you all the best once again. Bye. Take care.